Hearns in front of his hometown crowd for the first time in 2.5 years. Thomas Hearns, the NABF Middleweight Champion, being welcomed into Cobo Arena. Thomas Hearns, a not unexpected huge welcome for the NABF middleweight champion, former welterweight, junior middleweight champion. He has just vacated his 154-pound crown, the WBC version, and defends his middleweight title tonight. Let's look at the NABF championship rules for this fight. 12 rounds the distance on the 10-point must system. No standing 8 count. There is a mandatory 8 count if you're knocked down. 3 knockdowns in 1 round ends the bout. Count continues after the bell except in the final 12th round. Let's look at the tail of the tape. Thomas Hearns, again, that formidable height, 6'1". He came in at 159. Doug DeWitt at 5'10", came in at 160. He weighed in early this morning at 161 1/4, had to take off 1 1/4 pounds to make the official weight of 160. Shouldn't be any problem for him, however. He took it off readily. So it will be Hearns against DeWitt in Hearns' hometown of Detroit, Michigan, and the usual cast of thousands following the champion Thomas Hearns into the ring. Doug DeWitt appearing calm, cool, and collected. And now let's go for the ring introductions to Michael Buffer.
The honor guard of the 301st Military Police.
Well, America the Beautiful, sung by a local singer by the name of Thomas here at Cobo Arena. Let's go back up to Michael Buffer.
Who is the boxing commissioner of New Jersey. The 3 judges will be Harold Letterman from New York, Rose Grable from Michigan, and Rich Fisher from Michigan. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble. This is it, the main event of the evening. 12 rounds for the North American Boxing Federation Middleweight Championship. The referee for this contest is Bobby Watson. Introducing first in the red corner. He's wearing the black trunks with white trim and weighs an even 160 pounds. His professional record, an excellent one of 27 victories, only 3 defeats and 3 draws, 17 big KOs. He's from Yonkers, New York. He's never been stopped, never been down. Ladies and gentlemen, Doug DeWitt. And his opponent in the red corner, wearing the dark gold trunks, weighing the 159-pound even, his professional record, 42 victories, only 2 defeats, 36 KOs from the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan, ranked number 1 city. The Hitman, Thomas
Doug.
All right, fellas, first thing I want to tell you is when you're in a clinch and I tell you to break, I want you to stop fighting, take 1 step back, then resume fighting. I want you to watch your low punches, you're holding and hitting back here and back there are fouled, and make logical fight. In the event the fighter is knocked down, you know the fighter standing will go to the furthest neutral corner and stay till I tell you to come out. And the fighter's down, you know, must take a full 8 count at least. I want you to shake hands, protect yourself at all times, come out fighting with a belt, and good luck to both of you, John.
Who's the chief second here?
All right, you heard the instructions from the referee, Robert Watson, appointed by the Michigan State Athletic Commission. Rose Grable, Rich Fisher, Harold Letterman are the judges. Harold Letterman from New York, Rose Grable, Rich Fisher, both from the state of Michigan. Doug DeWitt, 27-3-3. Perhaps his last hurrah, at least in the sense of having a huge opportunity to vault into the middleweight title picture, as Iran Barkley did by defeating #1 rated James Kinchin just minutes ago here on Showtime Championship Boxing. Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy watching DeWitt and Thomas Hearns, round 1.
Tim, you know, Showtime's getting to be known as the station of upsets. Donald Curry, James Kinchin.
Well, Thomas Hearns doesn't want to be another victim, especially here in front of his hometown crowd. He also wants to look good winning. He felt that in the Mark Medal fight, he wasn't at his best. Said it was difficult to make 154. Had trouble with Medal. Eventually the fight stopped, but primarily because of cuts and swelling on the face of Medal. And Hearns hearing boos from the crowd in Las Vegas. He would like to make it a good, quick, short, effective hitman-style knockout over a guy who's never been down.
And also dangerous with the left hook. Tim, the key is going to be if Hearns can keep that jab in DeWitt's face and set him up.
DeWitt, a natural 160-pounder. As he pointed out himself, Hearns coming up.
Tim,
Welterweight.
This is the way Hearns started with James Schuler. Good left hooks to the body, and then he hit him with the right hand on the chin, and it was all over.
Hearns nearly stumbled there as DeWitt stepped on his foot accidentally.
How do you know it was accidental, Tim?
Well, I was assuming that, Gil, but we'll watch and see if he tries it again intentionally.
There's that left hook of DeWitt's.
Under the 1 minute mark we go. Short right hand landed by DeWitt. Said his plan was to start reasonably slowly in the first 2 or 3 rounds, feel the effect of Hearns' punching power, get a sense of the range, and then he would come on, and he thinks Hearns' stamina will be in question in the later rounds. Final seconds of round number 1, scheduled for 12, the North American Middleweight Championship. Thomas Hearns, who has had hand problems, seems to be throwing it freely. Twice now he's had Tommy's assessment there.
Well, Tim, the purpose of the hand bandage is to protect the metacarpal bones, but you also have to throw your punches straight. It has to be a straight line from knuckle right up to the shoulder. As Tommy said, if you bend your wrist, you can break your hand.
And it's happened to him, and he feels like he's learned from that experience. But it's hard to keep a clenched fist all the time, so your timing has to be important. You've got to be relaxed in there, but you've got to have it ready to throw. Round number 2, scheduled for 12. Thomas Hearns in front of his hometown crowd. Doug DeWitt from Yonkers, New York.
Tim, Doug DeWitt landed a good left hook to the body in the first round, and Tommy knows now that DeWitt can snap a pretty good punch off, so he's being a little cautious.
DeWitt, born in Youngstown, Ohio, but grew up in Yonkers, New York. Actually lived in Detroit for a brief time. Ranked number 5 by the WBA, number 15 by the WBC. There's a solid left by DeWitt.
2 left hooks by DeWitt.
And there's a right hand over. Now Hearns just sticking out that left hand, and DeWitt not impressed with that at all.
Tim, I'll tell you the key to this fight. If Tommy lands a good punch, he has a tendency sometimes to relax and he can get nailed back. If DeWitt punches back, there's a chance he can nail Tommy with a pretty good shot.
Hearns' feats are well documented against a lot of the great fighters. His only defeats at the hands of Leonard and Hagler. DeWitt with victories over Teddy Mann, Mike Tinley, not in the same class of fighters that Hearns has been in his various weight divisions, coming up from the welters. Roberto Duran, Pepino Cuevas, James Schuler, Wilfred Benitez, all victims of Thomas Hearns.
DeWitt, thus far, Tim, has been very, very quick with that left hand.
Under a minute to go, and DeWitt trying to stay closer in this round. He took a real solid right from Tommy there. DeWitt fighting inside where he figures to be most effective, staying as close as he can to the rangy Thomas Hearns.
There's that snapping jab of Hearns.
Right hand landed by DeWitt. Good combination. Perfect. And look at DeWitt. Look over to the corner of Hearns, people, and he does that. He's a real macho man in the real sense of the term. It doesn't really accomplish anything. That it feels important to him, evidently.
Well, I guess that's the way he psychs himself up, Tim.
Final seconds of round number 2. Yet another trainer working the corner of Doug DeWitt. He's switched them quite frequently.
Herschel Jacobs, Tim, was a great light heavyweight fighter, very, very smart fighter, and he's the guy that's giving Doug DeWitt the instructions in the corner.
Has his brother Glenn in the corner with him, and cutman Eddie Aliano. We're in round number 3, scheduled for 12, the North American middleweight title at stake. Thomas Hearns, the champion.
Good left hook by Hearns, setting it up with the jab now, Tim. That's what he has to do. There's that good snapping jab again.
Outside here in round number 3 after staying close in round 2.
And DeWitt complained that Hearns is thumbing him, Tim. Complained to the referee.
Referee is Robert Watson, local Michigan referee. 2 judges from Michigan, 1 from New York. DeWitt blocked that left hand underneath from Hearns.
And then he punched back, Tim. That's what you have to do with Tommy Hearns. Because that's the one time that he's vulnerable, is after he punches.
Good right hand to the body by DeWitt.
He certainly didn't come here for a payday, Tim. He's throwing punches with bad intentions. Plenty of snap.
Bravado by DeWitt, calling Hearns in. Under 30 seconds to go, round 3.
Hearns respects DeWitt, Tim, I can tell you that.
Hearns unable to land as DeWitt showing good defense. Now he gets
a big right hand, Tim.
He's in trouble. He has him in trouble. Hearns trying to finish him here in round 3. DeWitt trying to bob and weave, but he's wobbling.
5, 6 right hands. 7, 8, 9.
There's the bell ending round 3. And DeWitt complaining about the punches after the bell. Wobbled. he did a good job of surviving, and he's an expert at that. This is round number 4, scheduled for 12. Hearns managed to get in a couple after the bell. I don't think either fighter heard the bell. It wasn't intentional. He was just trying to finish off his man. Doug DeWitt does not appear any the worse for wear, but we'll see what the cumulative effect is. Whether he can turn some offense on here in the 4th round after the good flurries by Hearns.
With DeWitt, it's going to have to take one big punch to get him back in the fight, Tim. He certainly isn't going to outpoint Tommy Hearns.
Well, I gave DeWitt the 2nd round, but Hearns had 2-1 on my scorecard and a big round in round number 3 at the end.
What Tommy is doing, Tim, he's feinting, sliding over to the right and throwing his right hand over DeWitt's low left hand, which is a good strategy.
Now DeWitt trying to muscle him, and this is something that I think DeWitt knows he's got to do, which he didn't do against Milton McCrory.
Tim, this is a much better Doug DeWitt than the Doug DeWitt that fought Milton McCrory. He's alive tonight. Against McCrory seemed to be in a daze.
A little swelling under the left eye of Doug DeWitt from the action near the end of round 3. Hearns lands a combination from long range.
And then he slides over to the right, Tim. Good left hook by DeWitt to the body.
Yeah, a little low, but it had its effect. Under a minute to go, round 4.
Well, Tommy Hearns just blew his nose, Tim. That's one of the worst things you can do. His eye can swell up.
Again, DeWitt stepping on Hearns as Hearns tried to move away from the ropes.
DeWitt's using his forearms, his elbows, his head, anything he can use, trying to win this fight. Good snappy jabs by DeWitt.
To the end of round number 4, Doug DeWitt with just a little swelling under that left eye. Good combination right at the bell. Some Vaseline on there to try and help those punches slide off those areas that could easily puff up quickly. Round number 5, and there's that famous jab of Thomas Hearns.
DeWitt is a lot quicker than I've ever seen him attempt, because Tommy Hearns has fast hands, and he's managing to slip and avoid a lot of Tommy's punches.
There's a right hand lead.
Beautiful move by Tommy Hearns.
Snapping jab behind it. DeWitt rushing in and then unhappy with himself, saying that's not the way to do it. I'm going to work my way in.
Another left hook a little low by Doug DeWitt. Good jab by Tommy Hearns.
Yep.
There's Hearns sliding to the right again.
Hearns now appearing to me, Gil, to be trying to stand his ground in the muscle department as well, to show DeWitt that he can't be muscled back. Something that DeWitt, no doubt, was hoping would work in his favor.
Now Tommy's trying a new strategy, and DeWitt's right with him.
Little showboating going on. Psychological warfare along with it.
Again, DeWitt is not going to outpoint Tommy Hearns. He's going to have to nail him with the big punch. Iran Barkley in the previous fight was winging punches. That might be DeWitt's best chance. Take a shot.
Well, he said in his interview there moments ago that's what he was going to do. Remains to be seen.
Good right hand by DeWitt. And Tommy Hearns is copying from DeWitt. You can't hurt me. Another right hand by DeWitt.
DeWitt stays there this time. DeWitt trying to get underneath those long arms. Hearns just ties him up. Under 20 seconds we go in round 5, scheduled for 12. The North American Middleweight Championship. Tommy Hearns defending against Doug DeWitt. Showtime Championship Boxing. Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy. We are ringside in Cobo Arena, Detroit, Michigan.
Tim, it was right on the upper left side of his face, and they were using the end swell on it, bring the swelling down. Tim, I don't understand why anybody would have booed this fight thus far. You're seeing two well-conditioned, well-schooled middleweights who are letting it all hang out.
Well, I'm not sure whether it's the boos for Hearns for not getting this guy out earlier, or whether they were booing the tactics of Doug DeWitt. It's irrelevant. I agree with you. It's been a very tough first 5 rounds. We're in round 6, scheduled for 12. Now DeWitt trying to jab more here. Changing jabs with Hearns will be a losing battle.
As we said in the beginning, the key is for DeWitt to get underneath that jab. The counter for a jab is a left hook, Tim. He should be slipping the jab and trying to hit Tommy with left hooks.
And that's his best punch.
And thus far, he hasn't done it, Tim. Instead, he's jabbing with Hearns.
Well, he got a couple in, and then he got 3 back. There's a good move inside by DeWitt, and a heavy left hand landed. Hearns counter punches back.
And DeWitt is talking to him again. I don't know whether it's X-rated, but he's talking to him. Scoring points with that left hand.
Hitting on the break warning from the referee, Robert Watson. Now DeWitt pressing Hearns in the corner, landed a left hand, and Hearns ties him up. There's a cut over the right eye of Thomas Hearns. And I think it came from a punch, a left hand by DeWitt, I believe. Referee Watson went over to the NABF rep, who was Larry Hazard. So there was a discussion about whether it was a butt or not.
It looks like an angry cut.
Yes,
Tim.
it is. Thomas Hearns in trouble.
Tim, he has a bad cut over his right eye.
Doug DeWitt in round number 6.
Good right hand by Tommy Hearns. But again,
not sure what that discussion would have been between the referee and Larry Hazard.
well, he may have told Larry Hazard that it was a butt. I'd like to find out.
Yeah, well, I can't be sure, but I thought it was from a punch. There's the end of round number 6. Thomas Hearns comes back with blood streaming.
Tim, that's an angry cut.
Ralph Citro will go to work in the Hearns corner. We will try and determine. All right, now let's see. Well, that's just a little right hand. I believe it occurred just before that. Maybe we can try and get that replay back for you. Can't promise, but it was a punch before what we just showed you, that if it was a punch that did the damage, it was a left hand. If it was a butt, the way Larry Hazard saw it, it was ruled an accidental butt.
Tim, 2 bad things can happen to Tommy Hearns on account of this cut. Number 1, the cut itself is a terrible cut. The fight could be stopped. And number 2, it gives DeWitt that extra confidence, that extra adrenaline, sometimes can change a fight. I've seen fighters that they thought they were dead tired, and all of a sudden they cut the other guy, and it's like a breath of fresh air, a breath of oxygen.
Round 7, some blood from the nose of Doug DeWitt now. Thomas Hearns. It appears to be high on his eyebrow, closer to his nose than the corner of his eye.
It's a bad cut.
And bleeding directly down into his eye.
And now Tommy Hearns is having to fight DeWitt's fight. No more jabbing. Now they're going to war. He has to try to get DeWitt out of there. And by doing that, get nailed himself.
Well, again, we've had one upset already tonight. Iran Barkley over James Kinchin, the #1 ranked middleweight. And Gil, I have to keep going back to my continuing question about Hearns as a middleweight. Although DeWitt has the reputation, nobody's knocked him down. I still have to question the punching power at 160 pounds of Thomas Hearns.
Well, Tim, up to this point, he's nailed DeWitt with some pretty good shots and nothing's happened. Whether it's DeWitt's chin or the fact that Tommy really doesn't have that much power as a middleweight, we still don't know. He looks so big and strong, Tommy. He looks like a full-fledged middleweight, maybe even a light heavyweight from the waist up. But he's hit DeWitt again. Good shots. Look at DeWitt. DeWitt's using the heel of his glove. He's hooking back on that cut.
Oh, and a good sneak move by Hearns, who just stood there. As soon as the break was completed, he fired off a tough combination to the face of DeWitt.
This is a war now, Tim. As I say, Tommy had to go to war.
Round 7 scheduled for 12, a dramatic North American middleweight title fight. There's a big right hand by Hearns. Again, DeWitt didn't move. Hearns has lost only to Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler.
Tim, if Tommy Hearns can stay around for a while, Ralph Sitko's cut stuff will take a hold in there, and then that cut won't be as dangerous. It takes a little time for the cut stuff to work.
Hearns had been having his way, apart from round 2 on my card, until the damage in round 6. There's the end of the 7th round. In the corner as best we can. DeWitt works his way in. Looks like they clashed heads right there.
Absolutely.
Is there blood? Yes, there is.
Absolutely.
You can see the expression.
Definitely a butt. The referee made a good call. Accidental butt.
And there's the shot. So it may well have been the referee's call, although it appeared when he went to Larry Hazard that it was Larry Hazard's call, but we can't know that for sure. Lois Hearns, a little concerned about her son's situation in the fight. And they're working on him feverishly now in the corner. You can see it is high on the eyebrow, just inside the bridge of his nose.
Although Tommy Hearns is winning the rounds, in my opinion, he's not winning them by a big margin, and he's taking punishment himself in every round. I'm sure he didn't expect this kind of a fight from Doug DeWitt, but as I say, DeWitt looks to me as like a much better fighter than the Doug DeWitt that showed up in Las Vegas to fight Milton McCrory.
Certainly strategically, he's been a lot better. Tried to work his way in, and he's been in there and used everything he's got. Strength, muscle, roughhouse tactics.
Tim, they have a heavy layer of grease over the left eye of Doug DeWitt. Whether he has a cut, I didn't see a cut on Doug DeWitt, but it looks like they worked on it.
The only blood I saw was from his nose in the last round, and not very much. Now some swelling over and under his right eye early in the fight, but did not appear to be serious. Hearns fighting with renewed purpose, knowing what that fight can cause.
Now Ralph Sitko's cut stuff has taken hold, Tim. You don't see any blood coming out of the right eye of Tommy Hearns. It takes a little time.
And meanwhile, Hearns piling up points here in round number 8.
Doug DeWitt has a pretty quick little jab himself, Tim, even though he's jabbing at a taller guy. Hearns is not countering his jab. Good combination by DeWitt. And there goes DeWitt's head again.
flurry by DeWitt. Hearns blocked some of those blows, but a good offensive flurry by DeWitt.
It certainly was, Tim. Plenty of leverage on those punches. Very effective punches. There's where DeWitt has to wing that left hook when he slips. I'm surprised that he isn't winging it more often than he has.
Not appear to be any cut on the face of DeWitt. Little blood from the nose. Now the cut is opened again over the right eye of Hearns, not bleeding heavily. 24 seconds still to go in the round. A little blood from that cut.
Mr. DeWitt is some tough guy, Tim. He's taunting Tommy Hearns, telling him to come on and fight. It's like taunting a locomotive when you're standing on the tracks.
Stop turns coming in with the left. Final seconds of round 8. I think his advice was good. Keep the pressure on. You've got to just double up on the pressure, you could hear him say. Stewart always calm in the corner of all of his boxers, including Hearns, saying, you know, another round in the bank, Tommy, just keep boxing.
And the first right hand that DeWitt threw, he hit Tommy right on the bad eye and knocked all of the cut stuff right off it. Went flying into the air.
Round number 9, scheduled for 12. Doug DeWitt was counting on the fact that Hearns may not have the stamina after the early rounds. Well, we're into the 9th. He also said that he would be putting on the pressure. I say he's been trying to do that.
Well, Manny Stewart told Tommy one more round, he says, and then we'll open up. So I guess they're going to take the double pressure away from DeWitt next round. Next round should be a beauty if we get by this one.
Now, don't forget that Hearns felt it was important to look good, not just win, but to come in here and hopefully knock out the man who's never been knocked down. They really got tangled up that time, and DeWitt wanted to throw that right hand, but Marcus of Queensbury prevented him.
Look at DeWitt with his hands at his sides. Hands at his sides. You talk about not respecting a puncher.
Look at now, a little rub on the top of Hearns' head. Really mocking.
He's telling him the referee to watch Tommy's head. Now Tommy's doing it to him. Look at this. Tommy should not get caught in this trap and start doing the things that DeWitt's doing. He should fight like Tommy Hearns.
Well, Hearns, no doubt, a little frustrated. Wanting to look good in front of his hometown crowd. He's been in command of the fight, on our cards at least, but he has
not really, this round, Tim.
No,
not this round. DeWitt is landing some beautiful combinations, short punches, good shots to the body.
And his muscling
and
hang
on the head, and another one on the head.
They're taking a point away from Doug DeWitt. For using his head inside, I believe.
No, Tim, I think he called a low blow.
All right. Referee's back was to us, so we couldn't read his lips or hear him real well.
Look at Doug DeWitt. What a tough guy. Oh, what a right hand he got hit, Tim. Nothing happened.
He's just walking in now with his hands down.
Tim, he has nice wall.
Now Hearns standing freely, the crowd on its feet.
Tim, Tommy's letting it all hang out. I wonder how much that took out of him.
The end of round number 10. Remember, this is a 12-round fight for the NABF Middleweight Title. We're in round 10. Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy, a dramatic middleweight display. Thomas Hearns, cut in round number 6. Has had problems since that point. We have scored a round for DeWitt, and he might have won the last one except for that point being taken away for the low blow.
And now Ralph Sitko has gel foam on the cut on Tommy Hearns' eye, but if you hit that gel foam, that'll go.
And DeWitt going right after it.
It's also a target for DeWitt.
about the substances that are allowable, Gil?
Well, Tim, nowadays they only allow adrenaline chloride.
Is that involved in this?
You can use a gel foam, Tim. You can't use anything with an iodine base. Anything that will burn the tissue.
Hearns now scoring, but DeWitt will not back up.
Yeah, but Tim, Hearns is putting the rounds in the bank.
Some loose tape on the glove of Hearns. A repair needed in the Hearns corner.
Well, it didn't take Manny Stewart long. He's a real pro. Had the scissor ready. Now, for DeWitt to win this fight, Tim, I say he has to land a big punch, and to land it, he has to throw it.
He has knocked out that gel foam off the corner of the eye of Thomas Hearns, but there is no bleeding at the moment.
It seems to me DeWitt gets in position to throw that left hook and then doesn't throw it.
Now there may be a cut at the corner of the left eye of Thomas Hearns, in addition to the one over his right eye.
Here goes DeWitt with his head, using an elbow.
And again, Hearns with the head of Doug DeWitt, and the crowd responding to a little unsportsmanlike tactic on the part of Doug DeWitt. He's going to do everything he can against the heavy favorite Thomas Hearns in his hometown. We have Hearns comfortably ahead on our card through 9 rounds.
Tim, here's an example where Tommy Hearns had to look good. Everybody said, well, can he knock Doug DeWitt out, knock the Iron Man out? Now he's worried about surviving and winning.
Cuts over both eyes of Thomas Hearns. 2 rounds to go after this one concludes. We're in the final seconds of round 10. Right hand over by DeWitt. There's a right hand by Hearns at the bell. And an extra shove from DeWitt. That angers Thomas Hearns. Well, this is a partisan crowd, as you might expect for Thomas Hearns, but believe me, there are a lot of people who are cheering the performance of Doug DeWitt. That same protection to try to stop the flow of blood over the right eye. Didn't see any serious damage in that. What appeared to be a slight cut at the corner of his left eye may simply have been blood from the cut over the right eye. We'll try and get a closer look. Can't see anything serious on the corner of the left eye. Round number 11. The crowd chanting, Tommy, Tommy. As usual, the challenger in a situation of having to make something happen. Hard to win a decision in a title fight in the other guy's hometown. As we have it, Hearns is comfortably ahead. A point taken off by DeWitt, helping in round 9. But the danger of the cut still a factor with a round and a little more to go.
Well, the thing is, again, DeWitt has to take chances, Tim. If he misses by 10 feet, he has to throw the punches.
Absolutely has to let it all hang out if he has any chance to win this. It'll be another one of those game shows by Doug DeWitt. He went the distance, etc., but it still comes up in the loss column. Bear in mind, he's only lost 3 times and has won 27 with 3 draws.
See, there's a case, Tim. Slips the jab, but doesn't hook. I mean, it's okay, you know, but you got to throw punches. He hasn't thrown a punch this round. And it's in the 11th round. What is he waiting for? And Herschel Jacobs told him in the corner, he said, sit on the ropes and fight like hell.
Again, trying to rough him up and gets a warning from the referee for using his head inside. There's a right hand by DeWitt. Backs up Hearns. Got to do more.
That's what he has to do. He has to win, take chances.
Thomas Hearns continuing to box, move, make his punches score. If it goes the distance, there can be little doubt as to the outcome. But another gritty display by Doug DeWitt, but again here, strategically in these final 2 rounds, getting away from what was having the bad effect on Hearns. Big right hand by Hearns.
Right hand. And Tommy's cut is wide open again, Tim. Look at DeWitt with his hands down. Look at this. Can't believe this guy.
But to what point?
I don't know, Tim. That's the thing.
He's got enough on point to win this fight with just a good busy round. In our view, he's got to stop Thomas Hearns to have any chance to win. Although he, again, credit to his gritty display, he's tried awful hard, but again, he's got to keep up the pace, got to make something happen. Not enough to say you can take a punch. Now some loose tape on DeWitt's glove.
Well, that's 1-1, and that's gone out, Tim. Let's see if this is, oh, he's just as quick as Manny Stewart. He's got his scissor out. A little more advice from Herschel Jacobs. My advice would be to bob and weave and wing. But this has been a night that Thomas Hearns soon won't forget.
Well, he is talking about going up to meet the WBC light heavyweight champion, the new one, Dennis Andrews of England, if he wins here tonight. And then waiting out the middleweight picture, his desire to win 4 championships still very much in his mind. But I'm afraid I have to continue to question how effective he can be at 160 and 175 as a puncher. Not to say he can't win fights and become a champion, because he boxes so beautifully. That'll win you a lot of fights. Superb boxing exhibition by Hearns again. We've come to expect it, and we've expected his grit and determination. The proud champion not about to let Doug DeWitt take this away from him here tonight in front of his hometown crowd. A minute to go in the fight.
Tim, I can't understand the way DeWitt's performing now, can you?
No, this is back to the McCrory fight. Same idea, as though the fight's somehow over, and again, you're just out there thinking you've got it won for some reason, finishing up. It's an odd mental state that Doug DeWitt assumes.
Well, there's a kid, Tim, he has a lot of ability. I just don't see anything lacking in his ability. It's a question of him using it. Slips punches, he can punch, he takes a punch, but he doesn't put it all together. Good left hook by Tommy Hearns.
Final 30 seconds of the fight.
Good right hand by Tommy Hearns.
Hearns trying to put him away. Love to finish this with a knockout. It's not likely to be forthcoming.
No knockout, Tim.
We're now in the final seconds, so there will be no knockout. And that's it. A tough fight.
Look at that sportsmanship, Tim, huh?
Thomas Hearns appreciating the effort of Doug DeWitt, even though there was a lot of roughhousing going on in there. Doug DeWitt again shows that he can go the distance against anybody in the middleweight division. I would like his chances in that respect against light heavyweights. But winning is another problem. He's won 27 times. He's lost 3. I think he's going to lose this one. But for Doug DeWitt, given the big opportunities in the big fights, just doesn't seem to have that mental ability to use all the tools and go after it.
Well, that's the kind of a fighter that's really an enigma, Tim, and he can drive a trainer really crazy, because I see the ability that this kid has, and it's a question of putting everything together. I don't see anything that he can't do.
You're in charge, Gil. I'm going up to the ring.
Okay, Tim. All right, now here was the turning point in the fight, and this is what put DeWitt in the fight. There's comes DeWitt's head up, and there's the butt, and it opened an angry cut over Tommy Hearns' right eye, and you can see Tommy grimace from the effect of the butt, and that's gentleman Doug DeWitt. After he butted him, he hit him with a right hand, tried to open it a little further. When he's in the ring, Doug DeWitt, he's trying to win any way he can. They have a referee. As long as the referee lets him do things, he's going to do them. I was very, very impressed by this. The fight was a fast-paced fight, two quick fighters, two well-conditioned fighters. Tommy Hearns was just by far the better technical boxer. Landed most of the clean punches, and in my opinion, won almost every round in the fight. Although in every round he was in jeopardy. The cut could have been open. He could have been nailed by a good punch, because believe me, Doug DeWitt can punch. I've seen him knock out some pretty good fighters. But it was an exciting fight. I'm sure that Tommy would like to have got a different result. He was trying to get a knockout, especially after his last fight with Mark McDowell when he was booed for the first time in his life. He wanted to have an impressive performance. All right, now let's go up to ring announcer Mike Buffer.
Here's the official scoring. We have a unanimous decision. Rich Fisher from Michigan scores at 118 to 109. Rosie Grable from Michigan scores at 117 to 110, and Harold Letterman from New York scores at 116 to 110 for the winner. And still the North American Boxing Federation middleweight champion, the Motor City Hitman, Thomas Hearns. In the ring at this time to present the belt, New Jersey State Boxing Commissioner Larry Hazard.
To be kind of a very rough fight. There were a lot of rough tactics in there, Tommy, and yet at the end, as soon as the fight was over, in the great boxing tradition, you embraced Doug DeWitt. Obviously a measure of respect for him.
Well, I always have respect for my opponent, and this man here, Doug DeWitt, was a man with a lot of heart and a lot of ability. Leading to the fight, I told everybody that this is not an easy fight. This man has, like they said, styles make fight. And this man have a certain style that made it very difficult for me. And he used it to his advantage. He was there, he was working, and I give this man a great deal of respect. I think that he will be a champion sometime down in the future.
Doug DeWitt, Tommy is a superb boxer. You knew that coming in. That's really what won him the fight. He was unable to put you away. You have that record intact, but that's not enough for you, is it? Our question was, in those final couple of rounds where you had to feel that you had to let it all hang out, what were you thinking in round 11 and 12?
Well, against a great fighter like Hearns, you can't try to half-step it. I always try to stay on the outside, and he scraped from the outside. I think I gave him a tough fight. I feel he won the fight, but I feel I could have put more into the fight. But there's no excuses. He won. I thought it was a great fight. But I think, like he said, styles is everything. I think I could give Marvin Hagler what I gave him. I believe that because I boxed Marvin Hagler, and styles is everything. Because I got a good shit. Hagler ain't not.
Satellite dish and want information on how to subscribe.
I'm trying to knock him. I'm just saying though, the styles is everything. But I didn't put 100% into it because I should have been winging and throwing a lot of punches. But it was his ability.
Doug, let's say this. You made a very exciting fight tonight. You've done that before. You're in here against one of the all-time greats. We congratulate you for your effort.
I'm fighting men like Hearns, McCrory, Don Lee. They got guys like Kitchen, #1 contender, right? Where does that come off? I'll knock Kitchen out, and Sims I'll knock out. This is the only man to beat me. He's probably the only man that could beat me.
Doug, you make a good point. You make a good point. You have fought the toughest guys, and we hope you continue to do so.
Put me high in the ranking.
Doug DeWitt, Thomas Hearns, if we can just ask you to step in a little closer here. Tommy, I know you wanted badly to shine for your hometown fans. You didn't want another Mark McDowell fight. You hoped that you might be the first guy to knock this guy out. How do you feel now?
Well, I feel great because I think I put on a great show with this man style that Doug DeWitt possesses. I feel that I put up one hell of a fight because it made it very difficult. I had to use the left hand because it seemed like the left hand was the only thing that really was working. So I had to be effective with the left hand. Time after time, I just kind of like slowed off. I kind of like backed down and stopped using the left hand. And when I stopped doing that, it just put me in a bad position. Made him able to come in and do some big shots.
Can anybody knock this guy out?
I don't know. I hit him with some hard shots, and he like laid in, and I hit him repeatedly afterward, and he just stayed. I said, well, hey, it's no use me trying to knock this man out. Get off and start boxing.
All right, well, Tommy, we congratulate you for another game display and a brilliant boxing display as usual. I know you're happy to win in front of your hometown crowd, and you're talking next about the light heavyweight?
Yeah, I've been giving it a lot of thought. My plans are to move on to the next division now and not worry about Marvin Hagler, because Marvin Hagler, I think that he don't want to fight me. He gonna move on. So I'm gonna go on and move on, stay busy, just in case that he decides he want to fight. I'll come back down and fight him.
All right. Well, good luck to you, Thomas. You're always an exciting fighter to watch, and great to be here with you in Detroit. Thomas Hearns defending his middleweight championship of North America with a grueling fight against Doug DeWitt. Now remember, Showtime on Friday, December 5th will feature the 15-round IBF lightweight championship by another of the great Kronk fighters, lightweight champion Jimmy Paul from Detroit, Michigan. He will defend against Greg Haugen. That fight will take place in Las Vegas. And also on that card, a young man who won here earlier.
The spring of 1970 is an angry time. People, especially young people, fill the streets protesting this, advocating that, confident that their rambunctiousness